Just me talking to a rocking chair. There's a ghost in the rocking chair.
Hi, I'm Kyle. It's the Cabot Cove Ladies Auxiliary. I'm not named Hillary. I'm Kyle. And I'm here with Justin. Hi, Justin.
Hi.
I'm in charge of baked goods. Today I baked a cup of coffee.
And today I poured last night's wine.
It's punch for those who didn't take time to care.
It's punch, stomped by your feet.
This week's Murder, She Wrote is episode 4.
Birds of a feather.
Can I do this without my glasses?
But now we're in San Francisco. So she spent one episode in Cabot Cove. She was like, I'm going to my niece's wedding.
She also scheduled a bunch of television interviews to promote her latest book.
You know, entrepreneur. If you can, kill two birds of a feather with one stone. We're going to be introduced to Kaniki from Greece right at the start, making some shady deal, running in a suit.
It's nice that someone else gets to run in the opening scenes. We're introduced to Franz, the vicious German shepherd of Mr. Drake. And Kaniki, Howard comes and starts to threaten Mr. Drake, and Mr. Drake says, Franz, and he goes, Rawr! and Howard gets scared and backs off. You're a nice kid, Howard, but don't you ever touch me that way again. The next guy comes and says, I want my money, and he says, Franz, and then the next guy looks at the dog and goes, Rawr! And scares the dog.
Her niece has an allergic reaction to flowers when they're picking out flowers at the church, which we think is going to be a detail later. Never comes up again. Also, the gay priest is everything. I do have the little tots waiting in the rehearsal hall.
It feels like the only, real gay representation we get is from a priest.
When it comes to representation, as the priests say, we'll take what we can get. And we also find out her niece's husband might be cheating on her.
What's the niece's name?
No idea.
I don't know either. We find out later that the restaurant that Jessica Fletcher and her niece are going to is actually the restaurant from Hello Dolly, which is just swaths of curtains and only drag performers, save for Freddie, who is a comedic drummer who does his own rim shots. I'm the only guy who does his own rim shots. I'm like the Edison of comedy. That guy sucks. The whole reason why they wound up at this restaurant is her niece suspects Kaniki, whose name is Howard in this, her fiance, of infidelity because he's been working late 5 days in a row. He's canceling dates with her. He picks up a handkerchief and she spots lipstick on it. And then she found these matchbooks all over his apartment from this club.
Also, there's a really snooty host who Jessica Fletcher and her niece try and get in, see if they can find her, fiance to see if he's up to, an affair. And the really snooty host says,
we can seat you at 11 next Thursday.
Jessica's niece tries to use Jessica's fame to swindle her way into the restaurant.
This is the disease of celebrity, right? How you can expect to go to this place, and when Jessica and
Vicky
met, they knew they were going to go into the club, but didn't even call ahead like that day, that afternoon, even with a couple of hours in advance. They just breeze in and say, hello, I'd like a table. The niece sneaks over to Martin Landau, Mr. Drake, the owner, and says, do you know who that is? And for a first time in Murder, She Wrote history, he says, who the hell is J.B. Fletcher? And then he just takes her word that she's written 6 best-selling mystery novels. She's on all of the morning shows in San Francisco this week. And he goes, well, give her our finest table. That as we enter the restaurant, I was trying to pick up so many different details that I didn't notice that it was very clearly a drag queen singing La Vie en Rose as we entered. And then the next clue that we get is Jessica Fletcher saying, something strange about this place.
So as Angela and her niece
Vicky
are seated at their table, they're watching Freddie York on stage playing his drums and doing his rib shots. And then all of a sudden, this drag queen that was singing La Vie en Rose comes running out, jumps off the front of the stage, trips over Jessica's table, nearly toppling poor Jessica to the floor.
The table doesn't survive.
And then, of course, the drag queen looks up, and it is her fiance.
The wig falls off.
Now, the owner of the club was shot in his office. We saw a flashback later of Howard in drag turning the chair around because he's asking for his money. He's already been shot, but he picks the gun up, and then, of course, someone sees him run out with the gun.
You know, like any sensible person upon discovering the dead body wants to put their hands on the murder weapon.
The best part about the next bit is that her name's Vicky.
Vicky.
Doesn't ask any questions when she is reunited with her love backstage.
This was incredible to me. You get the payoff from the handkerchief before, because the shot before she rejoins him is him furiously wiping his lipstick off with the handkerchief. And then she bursts in and says, "Oh, Howard!" His innocence has not been proven yet, but they start making out.
Like, doesn't matter one bit. She has no questions about, oh, so you're a drag performer.
He says it's just a job, and she goes, I know. I thought that you were, well, never mind.
Jessica starts snooping around the crime scene. This is the first time that the officers are like, who are you? Get the hell out of our crime scene. And It's not just like, oh, you're J.B. Fletcher. Come on in.
Excuse me, I'm J.B. Fletcher. I'd like to help. You want to know how you can help? Get the hell out of here. But right before Angela is asked to leave, she says to the lieutenant, did you notice the single down feather that was next to the body? It's like, what are you talking about? But luckily, this is another clever misdirect because she's just emerged from behind a cockatoo in the lobby.
You know, every office has a cockatoo.
Every office has a cockatoo, and if you don't know who the cockatoo is, it's you. And then she cancels a morning show appearance, goes down to the police station again, and threatens to badmouth the San Francisco PD on her morning shows that she still has a connection with, despite canceling, apparently. And she says, either you let me help with this murder investigation, or I'm going to go on television and tell the world that the San Francisco Police Department won't get their head out of their ass. And he's like, well, okay, here's all the evidence I've collected. So it was very short-lived.
We're this close. So as she's trying to piece together the clues with the detective, they go back to the theater, and she goes backstage. She runs into Freddie York, and she looks at a chaise lounge in his dressing room, but he has the only window, so like he's a star, which is important later. Jessica and Freddie York are on stage, and then all of a sudden, this lighting rig falls, and Freddie jumps off the front of the stage, hurts his neck. They dodged the lighting rail. Jessica decides to visit the detective at his house.
And this is continuing. Another one of my favorite things about Murder, She Wrote is that any man of a certain age who shows up in the episode is going to have a completely requited flirtation with Jessica Fletcher.
And the best part is when the detective opens the door to his San Francisco apartment, he's wearing a robe that says,
I don't remember. Oh, save the whales! Save the whales! And isn't that the most performative allyship you've ever seen? He's not donating. He's just saying, save the whales. To whom? To anyone who sees him in his bathrobe? Come on! Maybe he got it in like a PBS pledge-a-thon where you pledge a certain amount of money and you get a Save the Whales robe.
I mean, it is San Francisco and the robe was pink. So also he could be, family, and we don't know.
Yes.
Save the Whales could be a rival drag queen club.
Yes.
We've got gay bears, gay otters, cubs. Maybe there are whales.
Yes.
Maybe there's a whole contingent of 1980s waterborne gay men.
With blowholes. Ew.
I'll drink to that.
So the next time we see Freddie York, he's in hospital with his agent, yes, thank you. And he's got a neck brace on, but drinking champagne. So I thought that was funny, like the whole motion that has to happen. It wouldn't stop me. We see Jessica, who has not slept on her whirlwind trip to San Francisco.
Well, there's construction going on outside her hotel window.
in the next door, the room next door.
In the next door.
In the next door. Wow. And she lays herself fully clothed down on the bed.
Great outfit.
Great outfit, not for sleeping. She pulls the pillow up over her ears to drown out the noise of the construction. And all of a sudden, she's figured it out. They used a pillow as a silencer.
I mean, and who hasn't?
Once they discover that the pillow has been the silencer, they also mention that every dressing room has the exact same chaise lounge in it.
And Angela flashes back to when she visited Freddie York in his. He used the pillows from his room as the silencer, took the pillows from his murder victim's room and put them in his room, only they weren't as faded because he was the only person with a dressing room window.
And you know it's a gay storyline when a chaise lounge is the murder weapon.
And the jokes are very much like, you call it murder, I call it a career move.
He gave me a shot, I gave him one. Ba-dum-bum. In a nutshell, we are happy that he's going to jail. Every killer thus far has been like, you're right, I'm a bad person.
You know what? I should go to jail. You do wonder, when is it going to be the first time when Jessica pins the murder on the murderer and they attack her? Maybe when we see her get thrown down the stairs, like in the credits, which we haven't seen yet.
I hope that she has to like slit someone's Achilles at some point.
That's
like, I hope it gets there. Sum up this episode, Kyle.
If you're gonna be bad at your job, at least be straight.
Never be a drummer in a drag club.
If you're gonna use a down pillow as a silencer, maybe spread some more birds around to cover your tracks. It's the Cabot, Cove, late. Is that what you mean?
No. Here I am talking to the furniture again. And Agnes Peabody, you look great.
She's a native New Yorker!
Hey, princess, how about a date?
How'd you like this shoe for breakfast?
I guess it got in his blood.
And what kind of transfusion got him into life insurance? Do you know how hard it is to sit in someone's living room when they'd rather be watching television and tell them how rich they're going to be after they're dead?
Mr. Drake said I was the world's worst female impersonator. Oh, Howard, I'm relieved. We've only had one killer in our family. 1777, I believe. But the red coats shot first.
I don't usually give advice, but in this case, I say go for it. Look at how evil I look if I do this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Save the whales.